Okay, so here we have receptacle. And I want to do some stuff with this receptacle. First thing we need to know is this on or off? So we take a lamp. Imagine that's a lamp. Is your imagination. And we just plug it in. It's this simple. You can take a radio, anything. Okay, now that we have it plugged in, you can see it's on. So if we touch those, we're going to get shocked. Basically is what that means. We don't want to get shocked. And my finger's in the camera. So we need to make that off. How do we do that? We go on over here to our circuit panel. And we find the right circuit breaker. Whoa. Okay, so we come over here. We find our circuit breaker. Based on diagram over here. And just so happens that it's circuit breaker number 16 and off. Then we look over here. Lamp, and oh, lo and behold, our lamp is still plugged in, but it is off. So, that means de-energized. Okay, right now we have this receptacle right here wired as just a regular receptacle, which that basically means light's on when it's plugged into the bottom. And now the light is plugged into the top of the receptacle, and it is still on. It's just always on. When the circuit breaker's on, light is on no matter which. Okay, now I have the receptacle wired in as a split wired receptacle. And as you can see, when it's plugged into the top, light's on. It's always on, just like a normal receptacle on the top. Now the circuit breaker is still on, and this receptacle is still energized on top. Now that it's plugged into the bottom though, notice the lamp is off. This is because it is a split wired receptacle, and this switch over here turns on and off just the bottom half of the receptacle. That's the key part, just the bottom half. You're probably wondering how you know that it is a split wired receptacle. Well, when we take the receptacle out of the box and we make sure the circuit breaker's off, of course, and you look on the right side of the receptacle, you can see there are two different hot conductors, a black and a red. The black one goes directly to the circuit breaker. The red one's going to go over to our switch. As you can see on the switch, there's a red wire on it. Red wire, red wire. That's basically how that functions. Now, it is also possible that you have two wires, like a split wire receptacle, but neither one of them are switched and they're both always hot. In this situation, you would have what is called a multi-wire branch circuit, which basically that means this top wire is going to go to one circuit breaker, the bottom wire is going to go to a separate circuit breaker. How to make a box go from this bunch of just wires to looking like this. A nice, clean, installed receptacle. So, first thing is to identify your conductors. Now, the first conductor you always start with is the ground, which is either going to be green with the yellow stripe in some rare cases, or copper, or bare copper. Generally, it's going to be a bare copper. These white conductors here are your neutral conductors. Here, these black conductor will always be your hot or switch leg conductors, but these are always going to carry the current to the device, and the whites will always carry the current away from the device. The ground, under normal circumstances, never carries current. It's simply there in case this wire were to, let's say, fray off and touch it, it would trip the circuit breaker. In addition, we can hook our receptacle directly to the conductors. We don't have to worry about pigtailing, which is a process explained further on in the video. Here you can see I have the 3 steps of the wire. I've got how your wire is going to look when you first have it, just a normal wire with insulation on it. This is the second step after you've stripped the wire. And here I have the third step, which is creating a terminal loop. So in order to create a terminal loop, you simply take your wire strippers like this. You take this hole right here, right there. You're going to insert the wire partially into that hole so it sticks out like just maybe 1/8 of an inch out of the other side of the hole, just like that. And then you're going to grab the wire down here on the insulation and simply take your wrist and twist just like that. And you'll have a nice terminal loop. Take this gold side, these golden screws, or the right side of this receptacle, and you're going to unscrew them. Just take your normal screwdriver and unscrew the screws. Then take your terminal loop, like so, and simply hook it on, just like this. So it hooks on there, so it won't go nowhere. And then after you have it hooked on there like that, you take your screwdriver and simply tighten the screw down. Now, as you can see, I have a nice terminal loop. To repeat this process, putting the white conductor right here, white conductor on the left side of the receptacle on the silver screws, and the green or bare copper ground wire on the green screw of the receptacle, making terminal loops. Pretty simple. 2 cables running into your box, and you need to install one device in here. You're going to have to somehow make both these wires go on the device, and that's where pigtailing comes in. Right here I have an example of a pigtail. Pigtail is just a piece of wire with a terminal loop on the end of it. What you're going to do is you're going to install this onto the receptacle the same way you would if it was the actual cable going into the box. So you have the pigtail terminated onto the receptacle. You're going to use a process called wire nutting to connect that single wire into your 2 wires from both your cables going into the box. Okay, to do this, all you're going to do is take a wire nut, take the 3 wires, get them close together like so, and wire nut. Take the wire nut, stick it on there, and just turn it until it seems to be tight. And you don't need to crank on or anything, just tight enough. And now you have this one wire, right? You've taken your one pigtail wire and are able to successfully connect it to 2 or more wires. You repeat the process for the neutral and hot conductors, making a pigtail for each of the same color as the conductors you're connecting them to, terminating them using a terminal loop, and wire nutting them in. You have successfully installed your receptacle. You're going to come back over here, and you're going to take your circuit breaker that you shut off earlier, right here. See, on. It's in the off position. And you're just going to flip it back over, and you're going to come over, plug your lamp or whatever you have, radio, whatever, plug checker, anything you have, into the receptacle you just installed. Verify that it's working properly. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.